They got what's called the unknown board of trustees, which is the stakeholders. There's no pictures of the stakeholders anywhere to be found. But you can still continue to follow the money to the major accounts of the world. The world, they got a name for it that they use, Sesqui Trust, right? When they was stealing your stuff, they was not allowed to use it themselves. So they had to stockpile in the things that don't perish, which is gold, silver, diamonds, precious metals, right? Precious stones. We got crystals that cost thousands of dollars. You got crystals more expensive than diamonds.
Right.
But we don't know about that kind of stuff. Right? And then, as intellectual property, if you make it into a piece of jewelry, you increase the value exponentially because now it's got a signature to it, a spiritual signature. Because somebody used their creative potential to produce the artifact. So the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers is what's called a cat's paw. You use a cat's paw when you don't want to get your own hands dirty. That means somebody else is working on your behalf, doing the stuff you need done, so you don't never have to take the fall for doing it.
Somebody asked Rod, for your perspective, do you think that our land, I guess they meant in like United States, because United States Corporation is using our land as the front, right? And they thinking that, do you think that if we get into a nuclear war with Russia or anybody, how does that affect our land? And with them being just 10 by 10 square miles, U.S. corps, and then while we get blown off the map, they just the business we out of business. So how does that work with the nuclear? When you got China, everybody got nuclear warheads, and a lot of them facing us, because we have pissed up United States corps and pissed so many guys off and robbed so many guys, and just really criminals. They criminals, really. They were set up by criminals. The four founding fathers are all criminals. So, how did that play out by this being our land and we indigenous to the land? These suckers come over here, and everything's really getting put on our back. Even the national debt, all this is all on our back. Once we wake up and figure out what the hell is going on, and how do we assess this matter? As far as the nuclear, everybody got nuclear weapons and shit.
Do you know what a scare tactic is?
Indeed. Go ahead.
We ain't about to have no nuclear war.
That's what I'm not finna
do. We've done that already.
Go ahead.
We're not finna do that again. All this stuff y'all seeing right now, a bunch of people getting evicted and they running out to the door bluffing.
If you don't leave me alone, I'm gonna I'll pull the button.
We ain't about to have no nuclear war. If they drop a nuclear bomb, the only place it's gonna get hit is what we call today Gaza.
The Gaza Strip.
Modern day Israel. That's the only place on the planet that it would be allowed right now for somebody to drop a nuclear bomb.
Wow.
Just the only place where mass genocide to this magnitude with this spotlight on it. They got a couple of them they trying to do in Africa. Africa ain't finna have no nuclear war. Them Africans don't nobody want to bomb Africa with nuclear bombs. The African nations don't go around the world pissing people off. So they not finna drop nothing over there they finna make the Africans stand up and stop the Holocaust themselves. They not finna the Arabs is not gonna stop this Holocaust in the Middle East because they in bed with the Zionists. we'll keep forgetting that Islam was wrote by the Catholic Church.
Right. The
The
Pope.
same is the same as what we call Judaism was written by the Catholic Church. That's the backstory to the story they was telling.
That's right.
When they put the Bible together in 325, wasn't no Old Testament. The Old Testament was added later because they needed a backstory.
That's right. People don't know that. Hey, I got a question for you, Roy. We'll take this question from Paul first if he super chatted. It says, how do we know if we are anarchy or organic to the land with all the mixing of the bloodline?
This is a personal development issue at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know where you from because you know where you feel like you belong.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is a lot of us didn't feel like we belonged under the condition we was under.
Mm-hmm.
Because none of us belonged under those conditions. But when the conditions start to improve, you're gonna know if you feel like you from Earth or not. When Earth started moving back into the right Earth frequency, it's driven by the frequency of the sisters, like Tesla coils all over the planet. As the mitochondria begin to react to the resonance of Earth, you're gonna know where you, because one thing about it, if you don't belong here, Earth is gonna turn you off.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they keep warning everybody about, the great solar flash. Right? So if you ain't from Earth when it sends out the cleanse pulse, you're not gonna be here. I don't care what you look like.
I got another question for you, Roy. This right here is a good one. Now everybody was talking about reparations and us getting paid for our conference. They say we was slaves. We know that was a fraud. The slave thing was a fraud. Now this is the thing. United States Corporation, they paying everybody but us. They pay the Jews, in Israel. They give them money every year. They give them money every year to keep the secret. The secret they keeping is about who we are really. But they don't want. They say they call and threaten them every certain amount of years. Say if y'all don't keep on paying us, we gon' really. The Israelis extorting the United States out of money and to keep the secret. And they get paid. The Israel getting. They send them tanks. They send them all kind of weapons to protect themselves. They send them aircraft carriers. Even the $5 Indian is getting paid over here. Everybody's getting paid by these guys who robbed us, but us. They even paying. They paying the Israelis. They were paying everybody. They even paying the Japanese from when they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. They still get paid. People don't even know that from when the United States Corporation dropped the bomb on them. Because they sued them. They sued them in world court when they dropped that bomb, and United States been paying them, but why ain't we getting paid? What's the problem? Why everybody else they paying everybody else on our backs, and we not getting paid right now for reparations? Go ahead.
All of those places got something that we don't got. All those places have a representing national body. Well, the Senate and the Congress don't work for us. This is the hardest part for us to get. The Senate and the Congress don't work for us. The Supreme Court don't work for us. The military-industrial complex doesn't work for us. The central banks doesn't work for us. None of them work for us. The U.S. corporation is now defunct. It's been resolved in bankruptcy court. It's gone. It's over. We still sitting here thinking it's business as usual. We watching the fairy tales they tell us on nightly news and swear we informed. And all the time on nightly news, they code flipping in your face, behind your back, talking to each other about what's taking place on the land, but they ain't using terms and symbols that you understand. They're talking over your head like grown folks talk over babies. So we don't need reparations. We need our stuff back. That's what we need. Because once they give us our stuff back, they won't be able to find anywhere to get a reparation from.
Right, damn right.
So you got these people running around fighting for reparations. I don't want reparations. I want my birthright.
Right.
Because your reparations is a drop in the bucket to my birthright.
Yeah, the bowl of soup analogy. The bowl of soup versus your birthright. They want to get. They can't give us no cash. What we gonna do with paper money anyway? They can't give you. They gonna pay you paper and paper money.
We watching the banking system collapse in real time, and we don't even know we watching it.
Go ahead, Roy. Go ahead. Go in on it.
Look, they didn't put the bill in to dissolve the Federal Reserve. That's already been proposed at this fake Congress stage show they got going on. They didn't already, the World Economic Fund, who was the ally to the federal bank, the Klaus Schwab, stepped down. Right? So all of the decision makers behind the scenes got to step down. All this stuff is over with. The stage show comes to an end. And if they give you reparations, they have to give it to you in fiat that has no value in the new system where the gold currency will reign supreme over the fiat decreed money that had no value. We won't need inflation to maintain the artificial appearance of value to the currency. Therefore, prices are going to plummet. Just by erasing inflation alone, prices is going to plummet. What's not going to plummet is the pay scale. They trickery is amazing to me. But look at these years. You see the orange?
Yeah. Right here.
Can you zoom in on that date?
1803.
Now remember, in 1863, 60 years later, right? This is when all these, the Northwest Territory is all of the white, including Ohio. That's part of the Northwest Territory too. Right? But they showing you how they moving in and expanding from the east going to the west. But for some reason, who is in the west already? They tell you right there. Spain is already in the west. So why is Russia sending? Who is Russia sending the fight in the west? It can only be one group of people. Because they sending them to back us up. The English is in the orange. The Spanish is in the pink, right? Everything else is tribes. Everything else is tribes. Now look at Florida. Who we fighting in the Gullah Wars? Look at Florida. You see who we fighting in the Gullah Wars, right?
Spanish.
So now the Treaty of Peace and Friendship is the alliance between the English and the Spanish to subjugate us in a conjure war. Now, it wasn't until 1776 is the 200 years George Washington Challenge. Right?
Yeah.
So once they issued the 200-year challenge, they gonna work together. They was working together the whole time. Berlin Conference. Now we in 1880. Right?
Yeah.
Right before the Berlin Conference, who they assassinate? Tsar out of Russia. 1863.
That's the connection right there, Rod.
Right. So why did they do that? They wanted to take anybody with a Navy fleet from supporting us. The old Mississippians, go back to Google. The old Mississippians had a navy in the Mississippi River and in the Gulf. Type in old Mississippian Navy. It might not come up because they don't want us to know it. But it's not a secret.
They're gonna give us. Let's see. Not the Mississippi. Oh. 7-0. Right here, Rod.
Yeah.
Where Rod got killed. Right here, right?
Mississippi River Squadron. What year is that?
This would be the year is 1862. Really
Okay.
active. It says they was active from 1861 to 1865. Damn.
We already had a navy. We already had a navy when they came over here.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, Mississippian Navy before 1700. Let's try that.
All right. Oh, yeah, write that down. I'm gonna make a connection with it. Oh yeah. Boston, Mississippi. Okay, for the 1700. The squadron.
I know. I read in one of the journals, one of the Spaniards wrote that they was kicking their ass all the way till they ran into the navy of the old Mississippians on the Mississippi River.
Let's see. Birth of the U.S. Navy. Let's see something. Squadron.
Type in Native American Navy. See what come up.
Okay. Navy. I know they've been had boats over here, navies, because what's the name? Them Ho Chi and all of them was coming over the wave for then.
And you got to remember, the port of New Orleans was a naval base the whole time. It's always been a naval base. It's called Port Nola.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna rain check. We're gonna rain check that receipt. I'm gonna post it on my page.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one right there, Rob. I could tie that into them that murder, because they go back to the Jason Bourne thing when I was breaking that down. That some happened in France, and then some happened in Berlin where somebody got assassinated, and during the Berlin conference. And that was a connection that we made when they said the Berlin conference. Then now you add this part that, hey, Russia came over during the Civil War to help us. Who the hell was they? Who was they helping? Who was they fighting against during this?
Yeah, but even more so because we could say they was taking the English side, but that's who they was at odds with anyway. So why would they take their side? because they say they came and joined with the Union Army. They joined with the Union Army. The Union Army was divided into red coats and blue coats. The South, they had white coats that was eventually turned gray by being faded white from being dirty all the time in the war. Right? So they give us the impression that in the South they wore gray coats, and in the West, in the North, they wore red coats. But where in the hell did the blue coats come from? So we looking at all these armies. Conversion over here is the same as the United Nations conversion in Iraq or Afghanistan.
Yeah, so Russia supported the North in the Civil War.
She was under Tsar Alexander II, right?
Yeah. Hold on, let me see something real quick. He was assassinated. God dang. Oh man, that's crazy. The guy that took support with the North got killed. I bet the Black Hand. And I wonder about who. Roy.
Now look at the year.
1881.
Look at the date.
March 13th.
That's 313. That's a Chief Pontiac knot.
313.
Fort Detroit. March is the third month.
Yeah, I wonder why they assassinated him if he was helping the North. You know what I'm saying? Like what leads up to
well, you gotta remember this. Okay, so this is before Tsar Nicholas got assassinated. This is in 1881. At this time, the Berlin Conference is about to set off. They trying to stop the rise of the Mahdi in the Sudan at this time. General Gordon is the #1 general of the European Unified Forces. This is their enemy to the north. Muhammad Ahmed, Baba's great-great-grandfather, is their enemy to the south. Right? So they coming over here, they going west and east. They getting slaves. They was getting their slaves long before they was bringing, before they were so-called enslaving us. They was fighting wars with Mongols, right? With Huns and with Vedics, or what we call today Hindus, the Arya Vedic people.
Yeah.
And these was the ones they brought in captivity to the Americas. When they came, when they got kicked out, they took their servants with them. Because they some lazy and entitled, selfish, self-centered individuals, and they're not going nowhere without somebody to wait on them hand and foot. Okay, so when they get over here with them, they have to do something with them people. This is where David Walker's appeal come in right around this time as well. Also, around this time, we setting up Prince Hall Masonry.
Okay.
Like all of this was in like a 20-year block. What we talking about now?
Damn. Right around, look, 1884, 1885. Around the same time. The dude that helped. Now look at this. That dude had to have something to do with us. This dude sent troops over to help the North. Then he get picked off. Right after that, the Berlin Conference.
Yep.
Oh yeah. That's freaky. Right?
Okay, now look. What year did it end? The Berlin Conference ended in what year?
1885.
What year did Muhammad Ahmed pass? Pull him up.
Ahmed. Hey, spell his last name.
Just put in Mahdi Sudan and it'll come right up.
Oh, you talking about the Mahdi? Okay, yeah, okay. I think it's this one right here. Nah, hold on. Oh, I got you. You talking about
There you go.
Right
there you go.
Yeah, I got
This is a whitewashed picture, by the way.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. The pale Arab version.
Go to the main page so you can see what year he died.
Here's a picture right here.
Or I should say what year he got assassinated.
Oh, okay, all right. Hold up. Let's go back. Yeah, it's like Bauer's great granddad. Okay, here we go. 81. And 80, hold on. And 81, he like, oh shit, bro. Hold on. Let me write this down before we go forward, bro. Hold on. Oh, shit, man.
You ain't taking notes, is you, Elder? You already got this shit in your.
God damn, man. This is I hear like it's stuff that's coming out, man. The ancestors revealing a lot of stuff, connections here. Now let's see what happened to him. Because didn't he get assassinated?
Yeah, they poisoned him.
Yeah. Knights of Templar. Go back. I'm gonna have to put his whole name in there.
Just click on that page.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, he got June 21st, 1885. Oh shit, right with a Berlin conference. Oh, hold on, bro. I gotta make another connection, man. Hold up. Oh shit. Oh, excuse me, French. Hold up, man. Hold on. This right here, shit. Hold up. Queen. Oh man, this about to get crazy, bro. Hold up. This date. All right, Queen Victoria, 1837. But what I want to find out is she died
in 1901.
Yeah, but this lady was out the Mahdi. Cause look, she like when they took
you talking about put double I's behind her name for the second.
Okay. Yeah, that's it right there. The Daru lady. Huh. But I want to figure out. Watch this. I'm just gonna type one more word. See if they give me a connection. February 19. No, not Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth come down from that same bloodline. Queen Victoria is the one that was after the Mahdi, man. Because when they like when the Moors had failed, the Moors was in control of the British Empire, but they had got usurped like in 1821.
If you want to know which queen, look, if you want to know which royal house was fighting the Mahdi, type in which king or queen sent General Gordon to the Sudan. Or you just say, who sent General Gordon to the Sudan? It's Gordon.
Gordon. Got it. Charles George Gordon. Let's see what we got on this guy, man. Write this guy's name down, man. It's a connection between all these niggas. I'm gonna connect all these niggas, man.
This story is really, really good in a scramble for Africa. They really go into details. The Muhammad Ahmed soldiers killed this dude, beheaded him, and they look what he's wearing on his head. They beheaded him and they put his head between two branches and threw rocks at it.
Damn.
Where else do they throw rocks in the Middle East?
Look right here, 1884, bro, is when they came at the Muhammad. The Mahdi series we both then broke out in Sudan led by a Muslim religious leader, self-proclaimed Mahdi, Muhammad Ahmed. Man, hold up, man. This shit's about to get. All right, so let me just trace back what I got in my head so far. Something to do with the Berlin Conference. All this shit is tied in, just like Tahuti said. The Berlin Conference, the Mahdi, the signing of the treaty. Hold on, let's go back to that. That was like what the treaty was. What year was the treaty? 1784. The Treaty of Friendship.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you type it in.
That's way before that. All right. That was way before not the Paris Treaty. It's called Treaty of
Peace and Friendship.
Yeah. Okay, it's gonna be 1786. Okay, so that's like about a whole bunch of years before. So, but it is a connection. That's like the first place that Jason Bourne went when he got back on land. He went straight back to France first. That's where he. That's where some kind of way he got. They gave him an apartment, a place to stay in France as one of his home bases.
Yeah, he had him everywhere they had him doing work.
Yeah, pretty much.
And an alias for each place. This is how Albert Pike. This is how Albert Pike, Adam Weishaupt, and George Washington end up being the same motherfucker.
That's right. I feel you. Yeah. So now this is what I want to make the connection. Okay, so they wasn't just this is the part we gotta realize. They wasn't just after us over here. They was after us all over. Now this is another connection, bro. I want you to think what you think about this. All right, now let's look up this map. This is a map right here. And when you look at this map, we're gonna see why. Because the Moors had already had claim on that land. I'm gonna show you right here. And that's why a war broke out when they got usurped. Okay, hold up. Okay. All right, hold on. I want to blow this map up. All right, now let's look at this land, this map right here. Right here. This is a map. Now, I don't know how true this map is of the empire, but I'm just using it for a synopsis of what happened with connection to Berlin Conference and all that. Can you see that map? Hold on, let me blow it up. Now, they say that this is the British Empire. Hold up. Go back. All right, this map. Where does it go? They gonna let me. Where there you go, right there. Now, keep in mind what a Mahdi was in Sudan. Now, based on the research that I had did, and I put it into that book about Queen Victoria and being Derues, who usurped the original King George III and them family. Right. All right. So now keep in mind the
you to slightly confuse you to keep you from seeing something. What the fuck they had? That's what you need to be trying to figure out when they tell you that it's all a projection of the mind. We all God living the reality is me. Okay, if you God living the reality is you, do some God shit in the reality you are in as you. Let me see you do some God shit. I mean, that's all I want to see. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with what you're saying. I'm just, I mean, you said you was God experiencing life as a human. And in order for you to say you God and mean that shit, you have to realize yourself as God, which means you went through an internal alchemical process of development that your central nervous system is built up strong enough now that allow you to download your full God consciousness into this physical 3D matrix, express that shit out to the world and show a motherfucker how to do some God shit. But there's only one problem with that. Can't nobody even tell you what no God shit is, because they ain't never seen nobody do no God shit. So They can tell you God. You can tell yourself you God. But how do you really know what a God is and what if you don't know what a God does? And if you don't know what a God is because you don't know what a God does, then you just making conjecture when you saying you God. Because if you a God, you know what gods do, and you do those things that gods do. So, what do the books say? What do the legends say? What do the history say? What do the DNA say? Can you read your DNA yet, God? It's just a mental projection. That's all it is binary code. You can read your computer and your laptop. You can program your computer. Can you program your DNA, God? All it is light. Binary encoded light rays organized into vitamins that are formed into a amino acid, 21 complex amino acids to be exact. That's the building blocks of the DNA. So if you God, you can encode that shit. You can switch some of them ones and zeros around and make yourself have some type of super ability or some shit. You should be able to do something with that. I mean, if you God, you are aware that as a God, you telling me that the periodic table of elements are varying wavelengths of light. You do know that, right? So when you start off with the lightest element with varying rays of light, all you do is you add a different direction, angle, or trajectory of the light, and you will have a different element. But they all got to be encoded with the binary to tell it how to stick together and tell it where to put the Higgs boson so that it know how to build density as it develops. Then you got to also have to encode it, binary encode what they call the strings so that you can know what isotope, because these have to be specific in a specific manner in order for it to have the right isotope, in order for the atomic weight to match up to what you're trying to create and form. I'm just saying, if you God, this shit is just easy shit. This easy, this child's play, this fucking magnets in the dirt. You know this already. You know this already. You know when they unraveling it, when they talking about the electrons in the observer effect. You the ultimate observer. If you God, then you can change anything you look at just by looking at it, because you're using the observer effect from the God seat, from number 13 position at the center of the zodiac, and the all-seeing eye. And you can see all this shit from each point of the 12 stars of the zodiac. You got this shit wrapped up because you God. And this is all just a projection of your mind. So why you ain't moving shit according to your projection? Don't tell me that bullshit about you being God. You don't even know what your physical body made of, let alone your whole light body. No. You don't even know how the Divine Mother separated herself in order to create an open space that we call the uterus and y'all call the envelope of creation. Y'all, was you there? I mean, you God, you should be able to remember this shit as a past life memory, where at the very beginning, when she was in herself, creating herself, she had to create her uterus first for she to put you dumbasses in it. Talking about God a man. Yeah, God a man, but he ain't the creator. God is a man over the math. She is the God of creation. She created the mathematician. See, y'all gotta put that shit in its proper order. See, you don't know the difference between the plasma physics and the quantum physics in the electromagnetics. You understand that the electric universe theory and the plasma theory are overlapping theories of the same forces of creation being used in a T-like fashion to produce what you call a vesica Pisces at the very center of the creation, but you God. Was you there? You see, so when they telling you about a cross and you stuck on a man being held 2,000 years ago on a piece of wood called a cross, never knowing that they're telling you about the structure of the creation, and they're going up and down with your electromagnetism, and then they're going across with your vibrational sound wave And you put the two together, in the middle of it, it produced the Vesica Pisces that begin the sacred geometry that begins to bring creation into reality. But it's all a projection of the mind. And the mind encodes the light. And the light sets the frequency. And from the frequency, you get the vibration. And the vibration takes you to the level, stage, and degree. It's simple, but it's complex. But the God mind play with it like it's a toy. You know, play with it like it's a toy. So when they tell you that it's a figment of your imagination that you living in, tell them to take this figment of this 38 and put it in their mouth and bite the bullet. See how their mind can open up, allow the bullet to pass through their ass without hurting them, and then put all that shit back together. Since it's all a projection of the man, you should be able to do that. Since you can understand that it's just a mental projection. It's just something that you seeing and that there's no reality to it. And it's all an illusion. Break that shit if it's an illusion. Show me you can break the illusion. If we all God experiencing life as me. Break the illusion. You can't even get past the legal jargon that tell you, hey, none of this shit ain't real, but I'm gonna act like it is, and you just keep giving me your lifeblood. You couldn't even see past that part, but you God, and this is a mental projection. Why you couldn't project yourself into them law books to find out you was being lied to? Or project yourself into them science books to tell you that they took your history and told you it was science, and they gave it back to you in spoon-fed reverse fashion, so you would never know that that shit is child's play. But you God. That's what you said. But you ain't did no God shit. What do gods do? Can't even tell me what a God do while you telling me you God. You can't even tell me what gods do. You gonna say create. How? With what? From where? What they creating, where they getting it from, how they put it together, how they bringing it apart. Is it starting from nothing, creating something? Do you know that nothing is composed of atoms? Because once you get past the atoms, now you're in quantum space, and that's beyond nothing. So create, God. What you creating? What you making? Oh, but in the 3D, we don't create the same. We just manifest. Well, manifest some shit to break the goddamn oppression. Manifest that. Master manifester, then you shouldn't have a problem with manifesting some shit that's going to break the oppression. It's easy. If you're a manifester, if you God, and you just manifest in 3D, you don't create, you manifest. Manifest that with your bad ass. Manifest some God shit in 3D. I want to see it. I want to see it. I mean, like I said, I don't got no problem with you saying that. I'll just be asking the question. Sophia, I went over some past life regression meditations earlier. And so if you watch the video from the beginning, and you'll be able to see some of the ones that I talked about. The 1700s Rothschild bought the United States of America. That is why shortly after we started getting birth certificates and social security cards, because you had property. Teresa, that's incorrect information. First of all, the birth certificates and social security cards is from the 1900s. The Rothschilds didn't buy America in the 1700s. They didn't even start getting into the money into the 1800s. What happened with America was 13 colonies. These colonies were the same as Guantanamo Bay. That was the same thing. It was 13 of them. If you look at who England and
everybody that sent them over here. They dumped prisons out, brothels, and religious dissidents. That's who came over here. Anybody they didn't want over there because they didn't want them those types in their country anymore. So they built prison colonies over here in what they call the United States now. This land was our land before they ever came over here with their prison colonies. But some people came with them that looked like us. Now, how do I prove this? If you go with Columbus, the first so-called European over here, he had a navigator named Pietro del Negro. Pietro del Negro was a Masonic Moor. In order to learn navigation at that time, first of all, they only taught navigation to a close-knit community of navigator Moors. That's the first thing you got to understand. Navigation was not taught. Christopher Columbus didn't just get up, buy a boat, and start cruising around. He had to secure the favor of a navigator, or else he was sure to die at sea. They got a whole lot of records of people trying to be their own navigator. So the navigators, like Pietro del Negro, it was one on every ship. So when you go to every ship manifest, every navigator on a slave ship was a Moor. Every one of them was a Moor. Now, the Moors had conquered Spain already, and they had Spain in a high level of civilization with Cordova and the Latin language being written by Moorish priesthoods that actually came from what we call today the region of Libya and Algeria. And these priests were at odds with the Egyptian priesthood. That's what y'all don't understand. They was already at war when they was in Africa. And this is why they undermined Hannibal, because he didn't want the same rogue fashion to rise up in Europe. And we end up where we ended up because somebody at home crossed Hannibal out. Y'all got to go back and look. It's always somebody that look like us that cross us out. Now, from this, America having these 13 penal colonies, and people fail to remember the first winter, they just left them. No food, no clothes, nothing. So we took care of them. The ones that were still living when we located them, we took care of them. We fed them. This is what you call your Thanksgiving ceremony. They were the ones who they called colonists, which were about 80% of them were Irish, and the rest was a couple of Norsemen and some Englishmen, but most of them were Irishmen and women that was brought over here. But they were grateful, and the feast was a commemoration. Not until we got conquered. Not until we got conquered did we lose power. Now you got to look at what happened in American history. Those colonies declared themselves separate and independent in the Declaration of Independence from England. That don't got nothing to do with us. We was already here, chilling. High societies over here already. We was already chilling. We was doing our thing over here. Before all of this happened, we was over here for thousands and thousands of years, setting up all kind of societies. Y'all got to pay attention to this. So when the colonists separated, the United States in the document says the United States as a whole is the whole of the 13 colonies. And the 13 colonies under the Declaration of Independence became known as the several states. What states? City-states. They were all independent, but they were going to work together to fend off France and England and Italy and Spain were the powers of the day. So they had to band together, and they made treaty of peace and friendship with Moors, not us, Moors. Now, in order for the Moors to honor the treaty becomes a law between the gods and man. This is why the treaty is the supreme law of the land. And because of what happened in Babylon, they knew that when they made the treaty would be held in place because there was no overriding authority on what they call the 50th galactic seat to override the treaty. So here we go. From there, the Declaration of Independence produced the first constitution called, it was the Constitution of the Commonwealth. And they also call it the Continental Constitution of the Continental Congress and various names like that. But that's the original Constitution. And it finally ended up being in final draft form, your Articles of Confederation. Notice the word confederation there. Now, the word confederation was English word used to refer to the groups of alliances made across the land between groups of native tribes, and they were known collectively as the 12 nations, which was the 12 regions of North America from Canada to southern Mexico. It was divided into 12 regions, and the 12 regions had a council of elders set up to represent each region as a tribal chieftain. So when the Moors signed the treaty, it caused them to have to protect the colonies from England, France, Spain, and I think it was Italy at the time was the superpowers. The Moors had to protect the 13 colonies. So what did they do? They told the colonies to spread out among the people, in the 12 territories. Where is this recorded in the history book? It's called the Lewis and Clark Expedition. B&Bay was the one, they call him Benjamin Banneker, who was the guide. Well, Lewis and Clark was some fucking buffoons. They was idiots. They couldn't read and write. So everything that you reading as Lewis and Clark's expedition is the writings of B&Bay. He knew how to write. He had to teach them. He knew how to talk to everybody across this land. The sellout is obvious. It's no secret. It's right on the dollar bill, the contract. The contract was a protectorate treaty. It was an agreement to protect the people of the land, the colonists. The Moors made that agreement, but we was already here. And so we lost the war. France sold us out. So the French were looking for Scotta from Scotland, the red-haired princess. And this is the big deal with Sacagawea and Pocahontas, because they took both of them to Europe thinking they had found her, the red-haired princess who would give birth. But they was about 300 years too early. They was chasing Scotta, who was supposed to reincarnate on this side of the ocean as the bloodline of the Holy Grail. They was chasing Scotta. And they seen these auburn red hair native girls where the sun had bleached their hair red, and they assumed that these were the remnant of the bloodline of the Holy Grail, or the Holy Red, the holy bloodline of Scotta, the red-haired princess. Now, the legend is in the South. In the South, Scotta is known as Maman Brigitte. In Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, like that. Maman Brigitte is an Irish female, red-haired Irish woman over here in America in the voodoo culture. She comes up as the wife of Baron Samedi, which is my Loa. And as
my role is not the same as phase one role.
Yeah. Everybody
right.
Yeah, I feel you. Like everybody got they like arm a leg type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So he mentioned one time I was watching this live and somebody told him I was in there, and he was like, I hadn't reached out to him. So I'm because you are a mutual acquaintance. I'm gonna ask you to reach out to him for me and see if he got any
Man,
interest.
might be listening now. I'm pretty sure somebody gonna send it to him. So we'll see, man. That'll be beautiful if we could all work together.
Yeah. Man,
Like
I love the shit out. I love the shit out of Phase One. Ever since I've been watching him, I've been digging him from day one. It's just that we haven't had the opportunity to have a conversation about anything really. We had a brief conversation on one of them other apps, but I don't want him to feel like I ain't got no hard feelings against him. I love the shit out the brother, but a lot of people took
he ain't worried about it no more. Yeah,
Yeah.
FaZe ain't worried about this no more. It's people in the community that's trying to FaZe going on with his life. He going on doing.
I already know. I just want to show the brother some love. That's all. I want the people to see me show him some love. I don't want it could be a 10-minute motherfucking thing where I just show the brother some love. That's all. That's all I want to do. Africa. Look, my job is not to coddle Africans in the diaspora in the Americas. I don't have no personal beef with them people. Right? I'm just saying that we was already here and we actively reclaiming what's ours. And while we doing this over here, Africans is actively reclaiming what's theirs. Once we get done reclaiming everything, we gonna have everything. So if they feel like they African roots is more important than they ties to this land, participate in Africa's struggle to overthrow the colonization of the African continent, they not finna go over there. Ain't none of them, Dr. Umar Johnson is not finna move to Africa. He can be unapologetically African. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But he ain't finna move to Africa. They live good in parts of Africa. All of Africa not in poverty like they have us believing. They got metropolises over there, booming, bustling cities, right? And all over the continent. This is a global struggle of the organic peoples from all over the earth to reclaim their birthright. That's all. If they feel like they want to reclaim their birthright and they from Africa, you better go over there in the system and take back what y'all was stolen from y'all. Because that's all we doing over here. We ain't asking for no handout. We know that they can't pay us reparations. When they give us everything back, they're not going to have nothing to give us because they owe us everything. And we back for everything they owe.
That's right.
So that's my position on that. I don't mind them being African. They can be as African as they want to be. They can put on the dashiki, which is actually southwestern United States in origin, but we don't want to talk about that. And the colors might be African, but all it is what the Spanish call a poncho, made with a different fabric. Right? They had different styles. And they named each of the different styles different. So it's fine if people are African Americans. But just remember, when you start discovering your native roots, have that same passion for claiming your native birthright when you do your investigation. Keep the passion the same. That's all I say.
Hey, Rod, the next question we got for you is not a Pope. Now we know that the Pope been getting his cut. He been off our backs and our labor, and the Pope getting all the benefits. And could you go in to break down on how the Pope connection and us, like with the Black Christian codes and all that, with connection with the Pope and on the land, and how now the Pope has pretty much been. We said we don't need his services no more. Like Nino Brown told that old boy outside of the Carter, your services is no longer needed. So could you break down why the Pope services is no longer needed over here on this side of the land?
Well, we never needed it. We never needed their services. They just killed off all of the ones of us that knew what needed to be done over here, so they can come in and act like somebody's savior. They not saving nobody. Look, I said this the other day. I'm going to say it again. If your God did not create you organic to somewhere on the planet, your God not from here. Your God is an extraterrestrial. Because if you're not from Earth, you something extra on Terra. You are extraterrestrial. So if your God is extraterrestrial, that makes him a foreigner. That makes him an alien. The organic God of the earth created a place for everybody to belong that's from the earth. And then told us to move around the earth and get to know each of the tribes so you'll know when something wrong. That's what our world history is supposed to be teaching us. How to have empathy with foreign cultures, so we not met with racism and discrimination, but they did it on purpose. Racism and discrimination is part of the doctrine of divide and conquer, right? So they had to create the castes, and they used skin color and the brown paper bag test to determine that the caste would be enforced by complexion. When Sippico put the Pope on notice, and he responded by repealing the discovery doctrine. That's called the fruit of the poison tree doctrine. All of the treaties and all of the laws that was passed under the corporation being ran by the Pope. But they told us it was our government. It wasn't never our government. It's always been an occupying foreign force on the land. So the services of them ain't needed because we know how to run our own government now. We don't need them. We got the best people to put in the place to fill the job until somebody either better come along or they train a replacement.